If you are trying to use Notion as a tool to become more disciplined, you are approaching Notion in the wrong way. I think most people start using Notion because they think it is going to help them become more disciplined. I remember when I was first starting Notion, I was like, okay, this is the thing that's going to help me accomplish all my goals. It's going to help me lose the weight, start the business, stay organized in all of these different areas. I set up a daily planner, a habit tracker, my long list of goals. And then a week later, I was already falling off the wagon of using it. And so what I realized was that people are making a huge mistake when they're approaching Notion. Yes, it is life-changing, and it has been for me in my life. I've been using it for so many years, and after all of that time, I finally realized where people are going wrong, where I was initially going wrong. Notion is a system for sustainability. It's something that allows you to stay consistent and accomplish your goals, organize your life, hold all of your ideas and dreams and execute on them, but not in the way that you're thinking. Today, I'm going to talk to you about how I actually use Notion every single day and how it's helped me stay consistent in a sustainable way to achieve everything that I want in my life. So if all of that sounds interesting to you, I hope you'll stick around and let's get into it. When you set up Notion for discipline, like an electronic drill sergeant, you're ultimately setting yourself up for a bad relationship with the tool. When you open your Notion dashboard and you immediately feel overwhelmed, you feel behind, you feel guilty, that is not a supportive tool. Instead of helping you, it becomes this other reminder that you're behind. And that is why so many people abandon Notion or any other tool, to be honest with you. They think the problem is them not being disciplined enough or not being consistent enough, but it's really about how you are approaching the tool and how you are allowing it to be a support system in your life and not a dictator. I look at Notion as my solid ground, my foundation, my rock. It is my external brain that holds everything for me until I need it to come to the forefront, and then it's there for me to actually execute on and work on and get creative with as well. It's like this all-encompassing extended version of me, not this thing that's working against me or trying to remind me of my shortcomings and my failures. It's truly this loving space because of the way I approach it that allows me to take a deep breath at the end of the day and know that everything that I want in my life will get accomplished because I have such a sustainable system, and Notion is the biggest piece of that system. I am not perfectly disciplined, but I do have this system that I can lean on that helps me continue to move forward. Life is unpredictable. It's busy. Things happen. You can't always plan for the things that are going to happen to you. And that's where having a system that is flexible and allows you to make changes, but helps you to remember how to move forward when you are less busy or when life slows down again, or when you're ready to pick something back up, it's there for you and it doesn't feel like you dropped the ball. It was a conscious choice to put a pause on something or to take something slower. And to me, that feels so safe and satisfying, and ultimately has been the key to my success so far. Coming from a place where I was completely burned out, never wanted to work again, just wanted to lay in bed and stare at the ceiling and just think about absolutely nothing. It's crazy to me how in such a short time I've been able to build a successful business that supports so many other people through this process as well of overcoming their burnout, overcoming their overwhelm, not because I tell them they have to get things done at a certain time or because I help them become so much more disciplined, but I give them this newfound freedom to approach life in a flexible way. It's like, here's the roadmap, but the journey that you take to get there and how fast or slow you go is ultimately up to you. And you can slow down at any point in time when other things get busy, and you can speed back up when time is more open and available. And so taking this mindset and mentality into my Notion system has been the biggest game changer, because I not only have the emotional regulation of feeling safe with this tool, but I also have the strategic plans that allow me to take action and move forward in my life. It's such an incredible tool. I love it so much. So here's what a day in my life with Notion actually looks like. Contrary to what a lot of people do, I start my day by opening Notion. I don't open social media, but I do open Notion. I open up my monthly planner. I look at all of my daily to-dos, and then I also open my Notion calendar. I look at all the projects and meetings that I have on my calendar. What I love about Notion and using Notion calendar is that Notion calendar integrates with your Notion databases. So if you have a project planner or any date-based databases of information, you can sync that with your Notion calendar, and then all of those projects or items that have dates associated with them will be on your calendar. And then Notion calendar also integrates with Google Calendar. So if you have meetings that you have to attend to or that have been scheduled for you and you use Google Calendar, those also pull in. So for me and my business, when people book sessions with me, they book directly through my Google Calendar, and then that will automatically populate in my Notion calendar. And then as I'm working on projects or anything else throughout my week, those are also on my Notion calendar. It just makes it so much easier to actually see how busy my week is, how much I'm actually working on, how long a project is actually taking, how many meetings I can actually take on top of all of the projects I've got going on and to do tasks, all of that. It's so helpful to not just have one big block of like project work on my calendar, but to actually have the specific projects pull into my calendar so that I know, okay, this project is going to take me a little bit more mental focus and concentration than maybe some of these other ones. I'm only going to work on this one project on this day, or I'm not going to take any meetings on this day. That helps me plan for not just my calendar schedule, but also my energy and my capacity as well. I'll also check my meal plans for the day and probably look a couple days in advance just to make sure, like if I need to thaw anything out or pick something up at the grocery store. So I'll look at my meal plans. I look at my workout schedule for the day, my habits, make sure that I am on track with everything, and just that I'm keeping these things in the forefront of my mind. Again, it's not about this controlling relationship where Notion is like, you better get all these things done. It's really about having this supportive thing running in the background that every single time I open Notion, I'm reminded about the things that are most important to me, about the things that are going to fill up my cup so that I'm not getting swept away by the things that get thrown at us day to day. I'm constantly being reminded of what my priorities are. I'm constantly being reminded of what is important to me and what I'm focused on this season. It's this constant reinforcement to my brain about, oh yeah, we're actually focused on this. I get so distracted so easily. I can get thrown off track. I can go down rabbit holes of things that are just not important, but for some reason my brain is like, oh snap, we need to do this thing right now. Or maybe somebody else has something that is super urgent for them, but I'm like, is this something I really want to take on? Is this something I really need to focus on right now? And having a space where I can kind of recalibrate and recenter and ground myself into what is important for me, and then making decisions from that place is so important and very helpful. So throughout the day, I'm constantly in Notion. I'm looking at it first thing in the morning, like I said, for all of my to-dos. I'm looking at my calendar. I'm using it to complete my projects. So any client projects that I'm working on, or even like right now, I'm using Notion heavily to manage our move across the country. We've already done the bulk of the move so far, but there's still so much to get done around the house, and it feels like every single day we find something else that we need to work on or that we need to buy. And so having a space that I'm able to go into and say, add this to the wish list, add this to the task list, having a space for that keeps me so organized and makes me feel so much less overwhelmed about everything that we have going on here. So I'm looking at that throughout the day. I'm obviously getting into Notion when I'm cooking, when I'm doing my workouts. At the end of the day, I like to review everything that I got done for the day, check off all of my tasks, check off all of my habits. And then if there's anything that I didn't get to that day, I will move it to a different day or reschedule it, because if there's anything that makes you feel like such a failure as a high achiever, it's not seeing all of your to-do list items crossed off. So what I like to do is move them to a different day, or if it's something that I know this is just not something I want to do anymore, I just delete it completely. I personally personally like to celebrate my wins, and I don't like to dwell on what I didn't do because I know eventually I will do it or it wasn't meant for me to do in the first place. So I like to move those things around, reschedule them, or just delete them completely so that it's not making me feel guilty or like crap. And if there's anything I did do that wasn't on my list, I like to add it in there because more celebrating never hurt anybody. So if I had to give you one piece of Notion advice during this part of my Notion journey, my success journey, it would be to stop using Notion as a way to guilt yourself into discipline. Use it as a second brain. Use it as your partner in crime to capture all of your ideas, to execute on them, to prioritize them, to organize them. This is what makes it so reliable and so sustainable as a system in your life. This is what makes it a lifestyle. Approaching it in this way is what makes it a lifestyle. By the end of the day, Notion isn't reminding me about what I didn't do. It's reminding me of what actually matters. It's reminding me of all of the things that I did do that I have to celebrate. And that shift from discipline or dictatorship to sustainability and success, that is what helped me finally leave burnout and overwhelm completely behind. So if you've recently started using Notion or you've been struggling with it, trying to really adopt it and make it part of your lifestyle, this is where I would start. Start with your mindset and how you're approaching it. Stop using it as a tool for discipline and start using it as a sustainable system for your life. Start building it into your lifestyle. If you are trying to use Notion as a lifestyle, but you are not using it for every single part of your life, it's never going to work. I have a Notion template or database or some sort of page in Notion for every single part of my life, from relationships to health to hobbies to projects to business, you name it. I have a space for it in Notion. That has been such a game changer in my life. If you want this exact setup and the exact templates that I use in Notion that have helped me create this success in my life, I will link the Life Dash template that I use down below in the description. If you aren't quite ready to dive into Notion, but you're just like, I really need to get myself organized and kind of get out of this overwhelm headspace before I even try to dive into Notion, I also have a free overwhelm to action blueprint. This is a PDF download and there's a Notion template version of it that is attached to it as well. But this is a really simple 3-step process that just helps you get everything out of your brain, get everything onto paper, digital or physical paper, and then it helps you categorize things so that you can really start to determine what do you actually need to be focusing on, what can you save for another time, and then what can you delegate or delete completely so that you don't have to have that mental clutter clogging up your headspace and causing more overwhelm. This blueprint will help you clear your head, get focused, and really start building momentum towards the sustainable success that you are waiting for. All right, everyone, that is our episode for today. I hope this was helpful, and I want to thank you so much, as always, for being here today. It truly makes me so happy to have every single one of you along for this journey, no matter what you are here for or how long you've been here. It just truly warms my heart every time I see a new subscriber, every time I see an interaction on the community, every time I get a comment or a like. It's just, you're helping me with my version of sustainable success, and I can only hope and pray that I am helping you with yours. So thank you again for being here. I am wishing you so much success on your week ahead, and until next time, take care.